story, and I can't change it. I drove back into South Lake 7 years ago, and I called Dominic Carlucci. How many of you know Dominic Carlucci? That's too bad. Dominic Carlucci was a senior captain, was a senior captain for American Airlines. His kids went through Carroll High School. Great kid. Son went to Duke, daughter went to Stetson, was a great golfer, great kid, strong academically. They took after their mother, thank goodness, but they were great kids. But Dominic Carlucci was a real numbers guy, and he knew all about numbers, and he used to quote numbers to me all the time up in the stands, because he'd scream at me, and he'd scream about what play to run, or coach, he's got to get 12 yards. So I knew he was a real numbers guy, and I knew he understood all about numbers, and I'd talked with him before. So I called Dominic Carlucci, and he said very simply, Coach, where are you? I said, Dominic, I'm at the corner of South Lake Boulevard and Weiss Chapel. And he said, what do you got? What do you? I said, I want to see you for a minute. He said, what do you got? I said, Dominic, I don't know what I got, but I want to show you something. I want to get your opinion on it. And that's when we went through all the stuff with Magic Mike's, and he brought the coffee over to Starbucks, and he showed up in 5 minutes with Magic Mike Texaco cups of coffee, because we didn't know how to order coffee at Starbucks, and that's as true as it can be. And I still go in there and get my coffee at Magic Mike Texaco, sit down in Starbucks. But Dominic came in there 7 years ago. That's true. I couldn't have made that up. But anyway, we're sitting there drawing, and Dominic asked me a question, and he asked me, kind of like Ray, did a wonderful job going over this. And Dominic would say, Coach, what happens when this happens and this happens? I said, Dominic, I don't have a clue. I don't know. And I'd dial Steve Fisher, and I'd hand the phone to Dominic Carlucci, and Dominic would talk to Steve, and then Dominic would write down some stuff. And I'd be walking around in there visiting with people in Starbucks. Then I'd come back over, and Dominic would say, Coach, what happens when this happens, or if this happens? We'd talk to Steve, and Dominic would draw it out. But Dominic would look at me, and he'd say, Coach, this is incredible. I'd say, really? And then he found out something else. Then he looked at me, and he said, Coach, he said, I'll take this, and I'll make more money with this than I will American Airlines. And 7 years ago, I looked at Dominic Carlucci, and I said, really? And then he said, I'll retire early from American Airlines because of this. And that's when I looked at Dominic, and I said, Dominic, how are we going to do this? 7 years ago, Dominic Carlucci and I started running with this. Last summer, Dominic Carlucci retired early from American Airlines because of Ignite. Those of you that are new, I don't care whether you believe me or not, or who you believe, or whatever. There's nothing special about me. I'm just an ordinary person. And you got to realize that anybody can do this business as long as they never quit. And that's what I love so much about coming to Wichita Falls, because I see the same people that are still working and still working this business. And those are the kind of people that I truly respect, because they're not going to give up. And they're going to be an executive director. And you got to realize it's ordinary people like us that are going to be successful in this business. This is for real. This is happening. And it's going to continue to happen. And when we got in this business, those of you that are new need to realize that when I got in this business, Stream Energy hadn't done anything. They had no accolade. They hadn't done anything like Ray went over. 5 billion. All the things that they've done, number of customers, all of that. When we got in this business, people would say, Coach, how long have they been in business? And I'd say, 15 minutes. They were the new kid. When I got in this, I wouldn't even switch to Stream. Those of you that are here and those of you that have been in it for a short period of time, I truly believe that the future of this company is still ahead of us. That you haven't even seen anything yet. And what's going to happen is in the future. It's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, as long as you never give up. People get discouraged. People have people, believe this or not, but people have people that won't switch. People have people that won't show up for meetings. People go up to people and show them a DVD and they tell them they're not interested. Can you believe that?
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? That happens to me every day. It happens to Ray Biggerstead. It happens to Preston. It happens to Randy. It happened to me 100 times in South Lake, Texas, when we first started. I couldn't even get a customer. And I greeted the First Baptist Church. And everybody came through that door, I tried to get a customer. And nobody would switch. I would call kids that I parent, but they wouldn't switch. But you know what? I knew that I couldn't do this business if I had to sell electricity. And I knew I wasn't going to do this business if I had to be an electricity salesman. But when I finally realized that all I had to do was get a handful of customers, and I had to bust my tail to do that, and that I had to get 3 people that believed what I believed, and then I had to help them get 3 people. And then I had to help them, and I had to help them, and so on, that I could build an organization, and that I could generate residual income. People, if you will realize that you got to go get no's in this business. You got to get 10 no's a day. You got to get people to tell you they're not coming to a meeting. They're not going to switch. You know, they're not going to do those things. You're going to have people who won't call you back. That's okay. Don't take it personally. If I had to go out here and get 10 customers a month, I wouldn't do this business. I got 20 customers 7 years ago. I ain't gotten a customer. I don't even know how to sign up a customer. I'm a president. I don't even know how to sign up a customer because I'm not an electricity salesman. This business is not about selling electricity. It's about building a team, building an organization, and helping those people be successful. And when you realize it's not about being a millionaire. If you're in this business to be a millionaire, you're in this business for the wrong reason. Does that make sense? Now, my wife may be, okay? But what you got to realize is this, that if you're in this to help other people be successful, then you're going to be successful. And if you stay in this business, you're going to hit a Terry Hack. You're going to hit a Ray Biggerstead. You know the first 2 people I sponsored in this business? And I didn't even want to sponsor them. The first one I sponsored was Dominic Carlucci. I didn't even have a clue what I was doing. Dominic Carlucci. The second one was Terry Hack. Anybody in here know Terry Hack? I didn't have a clue. I didn't even know Terry Hack. Those are 2 executives. Now, who do you think has built my organization? Not Bob Ledbetter. I haven't done anything. All I've done is sit back and cheer them up and help them, and then help the people they put in, and then help those people. You're looking for one. Ray Biggerstead, Terry Hack, Dominic Carlucci, and they're out there. And you can build one heck of an organization in Texas as long as you don't ever quit this business. There's going to be some great things happening in Ignite. There's going to be some great things happening in the next 5 to 6 months. And you need to be a part of it. I'm not talking about expansion. That's going to be happening also that Ray talked about. There's going to be some great things happening in Texas. And those of us that are in Texas and work in Texas, I think you know what I mean. But there's going to be some things happening here. But you've got to realize that you can't be afraid to fail. And successful people are going to do what? They're going to fail their way to the top. And you got to continue to go out there and you got to continue to talk to people. Doesn't matter. I always felt bad for the guy that didn't want to look at it. I felt sorry for him because he was the guy making a mistake. I was doing him a favor. And you got to understand, you know what the greatest thing in this business is to be successful? Is to keep it simple.